There are several signs brewing in the housing market, and a lot of people are starting to sound the alarm. My name is Mac Rogers. I'm a real estate broker here in the San Francisco Bay Area. Welcome to the channel. So what are these warning signs? The first one is rapidly increasing home prices. I see this firsthand every month. I do a monthly market report both locally and nationally as the numbers reported by my local association and the National Association of Realtors and other reporting agencies. The latest numbers are out and year-over-year numbers are again up almost 20% nationwide. The second warning sign is housing prices are outpacing rent. Here's what the Dallas Federal Reserve has to say about this. Since the beginning of 2020, the price-to-rent ratio has soared beyond what observed fundamentals alone can explain. The gap between the actual price-to-rent ratio and its fundamental base level in the US has grown rapidly during the pandemic, comparable to the run-up of the last housing boom, and started showing signs of exuberance in 2021. The exuberance statistic confirms that recent increases are far from ordinary. And the third warning sign is that income is starting to lag home prices. This simply means that prices of homes are starting to be unaffordable, or at current income levels, it's hard to get approved for a home loan. Other things that are going on in the markets are mortgage rates increasing faster than everyone also expected. To say that it's gone up would be an understatement. It's more like soaring. If you Google today's mortgage rates around April 1st, the 30-year fixed rate sits around 4.6%. When you compare that to the last March or April at the same time period, the rates were only around 3.18%. That is almost a 1.5% higher. But to put that into context, this is still historically low, just not like last year. These increases are happening because of higher treasury yield, which has direct correlation to the mortgage rates, and the market also pricing in more interest rate hikes from the feds. Think about this for a moment. If you're a home buyer, 4.6% versus low 3% just earlier this year in January. This rapid acceleration has pushed monthly payments more than $500 a month. And with more rate hikes to come, this will undoubtedly increase the cost of borrowing for all of us, not just for mortgages, but for things like cars and other purchases we may need to finance. The feds are not really trying to cool this housing market per se. This is just a byproduct of them raising the federal funds rate. The most likely scenario here is that you will have a lot of borrowers that won't be eligible to purchase anymore because of higher debt-to-income ratios. These sudden increases or jumps in mortgage rates really scares off a lot of first-time home buyers. Some respond by accelerating their home purchase, but others basically stop shopping for homes. I see this a lot with my clients, and not only first-time home buyers, but repeat or those buyers that who wants to upgrade their homes. They start to see their buying power erode, and the slowdown may have started already. Last week, the latest pending home sales numbers got released, and it showed a decline in the number of pending sales. Pending sales is a good leading indicator of closed sales in the next 30 to 60 days. This most recent decline makes 4 months in a row. While purchases are certainly going down, it's only going down slightly. And this is why we're still seeing prices go up. There's still a lot of first-time home buyers out there. And I've talked about this on this channel before. The main reason home prices keep going up is because we are short about 4 million housing units. Inventory is down at its lowest level in the last 2 decades. And you would think that with the insane demand for housing, builders will ramp up construction to meet demand, right? They are, but nowhere near where we need them to be. And now that everybody's worried about the demand slowing down, well, chances are the builders will also slow down their building because they don't want to be left holding the bag again just like the last time. All these things, rapidly increasing home prices, housing prices outpacing rent, and income starting to fall behind home prices, and demand slowing down a bit is starting to be a growing concern according to the Dallas Federal Reserve. This is what they had to say on their website, and I'll put a link in the description below. Real house prices adjusted for inflation, have steadily increased in the US since 2012. Further acceleration in the pace of house price appreciation began before the pandemic, but has strengthened noticeably since early 2020. For prospective buyers and sellers, as well as policymakers, knowing the state state of the housing markets is imperative. Using a novel statistical toolkit for assessing the health of the US housing market in real time, we argue that the underlying causes of the run-up differ from those during the last housing boom, which preceded the 2007-2009 global financial crisis. However, there is growing concern that US house prices are again becoming unhinged from the fundamentals. Let's unpack this and I'll also tell you my thoughts. Yes, it's true. Home prices have been increasing since 2012. Actually, here in the Bay Area, I can tell you that it started around 2010, 2011. And around 2017, 2018, a lot of people started to get concerned again because of the prices were already higher even before the height of the mortgage foreclosure. Heading into 2019, everyone was kind of expecting that we should start to see a slowdown because of multiple years of home price appreciation. It did not happen. As a matter of fact, we went higher. And then we get 2020 and the pandemic. That just made everything crazier. The good news is that they said that this is nothing like 2007-2009. And that is true when it comes to the following. Buyer demand is real and not merely speculators. Last time, there were a lot of inventory. Not this time. As I said earlier, inventory is at its lowest levels in decades. Last time around, also homeowners were cashing out on their equity, treating their homes like it was an unlimited ATM machine. This is not happening this time around. And finally, the biggest I think is that credit is actually tighter. They are more strict now. While money is cheap, to be able to get that money or get approved for a loan is a lot harder now than before. Let's continue what else the Dallas Fed said. An asset, in this case housing, is the primary expansionary phase of the bubble when price rises are out of step with market fundamentals. Rapid real price appreciation, such as that observed now, does not in itself signal a bubble. Shifts in disposable income, the cost of credit and access to it, supply disruptions, and rising labor and raw construction materials costs are among the economic reasons for sustained real house price gains. I just said this earlier. The environment is different from before. So even though we have rapid price acceleration, it doesn't necessarily mean there's a bubble. The article continues on to say this, but real house prices can diverge from market fundamentals when there is widespread belief today's robust price increases will continue if many buyers share this belief. Purchases arising from fear of missing out can drive up prices and heighten expectations of strong house price gain. This self-fulfilling mechanism leads to price growth that may become exponentially or explosive, resulting in housing market becoming progressively misaligned from fundamentals until investors become more cautious, policymakers intervene, the flow of money into housing dries up, and the housing correction or even a bust occurs. What the Feds are concerned about here is that because of the lack of inventory, many would-be buyers are starting to suffer from FOMO or fear of missing out. As such, they believe that buyers are starting to act irrationally, meaning buyers are getting more and more aggressive when it comes to offering prices. And that is true. Okay, I'm going to jump to the end of the article, but I urge you to look at it and read it and gain a better understanding of why they are sounding the alarm. Here's what they had to say at the end. While historically low interest rates are a factor, they do not fully explain housing market developments. Other drivers have played a role, including pandemic-related US fiscal stimulus programs and COVID-19 related supply chain disruptions and associated policy responses. The resulting fundamental-driven higher house prices may have fueled fear of missing out, wave of exuberance involving new investors, and more aggressive speculation among existing investors. Based on present evidence, there is no expectation that fallout from a housing correction would be comparable to the 2007-2009 global financial crisis in terms of magnitude or macroeconomic gravity. Among other things, household balance sheets appear to be in better shape and excessive borrowing doesn't appear to be fueling the housing market boom. Now, this last part blew my mind. They basically negated all their arguments. They gave all the statistics that said this, that said that, as proof that there is exuberance, as they call it, in the market. And this is what they said on the last part again. Quote, household balance sheets appear in better shape and excessive borrowing doesn't appear to be fueling the housing market boom. And this is what I have been saying, and this is one of the biggest most important aspect of this whole thing. The people that who bought houses or are still trying to buy a house are all credit worthy. They are not buying houses for the heck of it. Also, there are no excessive borrowing, meaning so far all of the borrowers are capable of what they are getting into financially. This also means that speculative borrowers and borrowers that are not really qualified are not out there trying to get a loan because they can't get a loan. I've also said this before on this channel. What happened the last time, everyone learned from it and no one wants to have a repeat of the mortgage meltdown. The first proof of this is when we went into full shutdown mode. They gave homeowners that needed it forbearance so that people won't get thrown out of their houses. And after that, you know what else the regulators did after the forbearance ended? They told the lenders that before you can foreclose on any homeowners, you have to prove that you have done everything that you can to help them out not lose their home or be faced with huge fines. Foreclosure is absolutely the last resort. And this is how essentially the article ended. Listen to what they said. Importantly, experience from the housing bubble in the early 2000s and subsequent development of advanced tools for early detection and deployment of warning indicators, some illustrated in this analysis, mean that market participants, banks, policymakers, and regulators are all better equipped to assess in real time the significance of a housing boom. Thus, they are in a more informed position to react quickly and avoid most severe negative consequences of a housing correction. Look, I'm not saying that we are never going to crash or the prices are never going to go down. That's just ridiculous. There are several factors that are colliding right now, if you will, that is both pushing us into bubble territory and also factors that still support us at this level. If and when mortgage rates go up to a point that really slows down the housing market and then causes prices to go down, it's not like there will be an influx of houses or homeowners saying, good grief, my home's value just went down, let me sell it. I know the numbers are the numbers, but let's keep things simple. Let's say you bought a house at the end of 2021, and by the end of this year, your home's value dropped by 15%. Assuming everything else in your life stays the same, why would you sell your house? To me, this is where a lot of people are missing the point. Just because prices go down doesn't mean we repeat 2007, 2008, 2009. Look, I don't know if I'm seeing the glass half full or I'm just more positive about what I am seeing and experiencing. I think the most likely scenario could be more like of prices flatlining and then going down a bit and then going up and then flatlining again. And this is because the Feds are going to continue to aggressively fight inflation, and if inflation keeps going up and interest rates and mortgage rates keep going up, home prices will eventually hit a ceiling. And it could be like the 70s all over again when there was rampant inflation and gas prices were out of whack. What do you think will happen? I'd like to read your comments. Thanks for watching. Would appreciate it if you can please click the like button. It greatly helps our channel. Have a great day.